Welcome to COIS3750, Principles of Online Marketing. This is Chapter 10 of Mastering Online Marketing. This is the first of 3 chapters that we're going to deal with web analytics on. Web analytics is essential, as even a small change in internet marketing can make a huge difference. So it's on us to continuously monitor the performance of our website and our marketing efforts. Take a look and analyze those results and make the improvements as is needed. If we were to use content management systems like WordPress, they can provide us with very basic statistics like page views. However, for us to understand the behavior of the people that are coming to our website, we need something that's more powerful. There are essentially 2 types of web analytics tools: client-side page tag tools and server-side log file tools. Both provide detailed data on how the website performs and how it's being used, but they work in different ways. With client-side page tag tools, we adjust the HTML page at the website level by putting a JavaScript code snippet into the page, and it'll record when the page has been viewed. That JavaScript code snippet is called the page tag. It sends information to a remote server, which is usually hosted by an SaaS, software as a service supplier, and the data collecting server stores the web metrics data and provides visualization capabilities typically. This type of solution requires the use of tracking cookies to record if a website user is a new or returning visitor. This is the most common solution. It's very convenient because nothing really needs to be done from the purchase of a software perspective. Instead, you're just putting a little code snippet into the web page. The downside is that these tools can only analyze data from the time that they're implemented on, and there can be problems with firewalls that may prevent page tags from sending data back and forth. Server-side log file tools don't require any instrumentation in the HTML pages themselves. Instead, software analyzes web server log files is used. It's installed on the server. So you can analyze website usage also for historical data, because the logs presumably exist for that as well. Unless these tools use cookies as well, they suffer from the problem of understanding dynamically assigned IP addresses. Dynamically assigned IP addresses mean that many internet service providers give their clients different IP addresses periodically. So since we're identifying traffic by IP address, it's difficult to know if a user is a returning user or not, because they may have been assigned a different IP address in the interim. There can also be problems with page caching. Page caching is when the page itself, the files on the page, the pictures on the page, the code is cached locally so that you're not actually hitting the server when you view that page. You're seeing the replica that you've already seen in the past for that page. Therefore, the web server is not getting your traffic, and the server-side log file tools aren't going to record that because there's no log associated with that page view. Google Analytics. Google Analytics is an advanced web analytics tool. It's offered for free, and because it is free and because it's incredibly powerful, it's used by the majority of websites today. It's based on a client-side page tag tool, so it relies on tracking cookies and JavaScript code being added to all the pages in your website. The author strongly recommends, if your website does not already use Google Analytics, start using it now. Typically, when you're adding code to your website, there should be a universal or global setting for the whole website, and you can put it in that header information that's common across all your pages. That way you don't forget to put it into individual pages, and there's not the difficulty associated with manually entering it into page by page by page. Google Analytics has the capabilities of showing you an awful lot of information about your audience: age, gender, geographical location, language settings, computer platform, number of visitors, return visitors, duration of visits, all sorts of things that we're going to talk about. In fact, the next slides that we're going to talk about are going to be specifically capabilities that Google Analytics has that you would want in whatever analytics tool that you chose to use, but that pertains specifically and directly to Google Analytics. In addition, there are YouTube and Google Analytics Academy that offer free training resources for using Google Analytics. Here are some of the basic metrics that you can look at using Google Analytics. Sessions. Sessions are the total number of individual visitor sessions on your website, which means that it's the number of visits. If a user has been inactive for 30 minutes or more, then future activity will be considered as a fresh new visit. So on the other hand, if a user leaves your website but comes back within 30 minutes, it's not a new session. Users are the total number of unique users visiting your website. If you have a high number of visitors, that means that there are many people who have an interest in coming to your website. It doesn't speak to the quality of the visitor. The number can also be a little bit deceiving because if the same visitor uses multiple devices, or if they clean their tracking cookies occasionally or regularly, then we can double report those users. So if I'm surfing a website on my computer and then pick up my phone and continue on with it as my browsing history sync between devices, I would be recorded as 2 users by the metric, but in fact would just be 1, obviously. Page views are the total number of web pages that have been viewed by all visitors in total. You do count multiple visits to the same page as a page view. So even if I look at the same page 3 times, that does add 3 page views, even if it's in the same session. Pages per session is called the depth of the visit. That just tells you how many pages that each person that's visiting in a given session is viewing. Having a high ratio means that your visitors stay and read more content. Essentially, it's how interesting your visitors think that your website is. Average session duration is the average time that each website visitor spends on the website before leaving the website. It's similar to visit depth. A higher value means that your visitors find your website of more interest and stay longer. Bounce rate is the percentage of visitors who come to your website, only view the page that they arrived at, and they leave without taking any further actions. They're the people that come in and have 1-page visits only. There's a possibility that the page that they arrived at had everything that they needed, but that's not as likely as that they were not enticed to continue throughout your website. A high bounce rate is generally considered to be a bad thing. Percentage of new sessions measures the number of new versus returning visitors. You don't want this measure to be at either extremity, meaning all new visitors or all existing users, but somewhere in the middle. You may want to tilt it in one direction, one way or the other, depending on whether your aim is to promote customer loyalty, so not a lot of percentage new sessions, or customer growth, which is a high number of percentage new sessions. Google Analytics is capable of providing a lot of information about the demographics of your users. This includes things like geographical location, language, sex, age. Depending on the type of business that you're in, this may be of greater or lesser importance for your marketing strategy. The textbook talks specifically about the way to see this information within Google Analytics, but I won't cover it here in the lecture. Website usage is understanding how your visitors enter the website, how they move within your website, where they leave your website. It's crucial to design and optimize performance, and it allows us to target content to the way that we want for the customers that we have. The most popular pages are well worth investing more time in and ensuring that We have call to action buttons that entice the visitor to register their contact information and to continue down the customer journey. The least popular web pages allow us to start to make an analysis as to why no one's reading them. Is it a menu-driven issue? Is the content not where it should be? So we can take the time to improve these pages so that these least popular pages become more popular. Along a similar line, we can check to see which pages have the highest bounce rate. Those are the pages, remember, that the visitor landed on and did not further engage with the website and left from them. So those pages are definitely worth taking a careful look at to see what's going on with them. In-page click analysis is done in a graphical way by Google Analytics, and it allows you to understand which hyperlinks are being clicked on a given page. Google Analytics allows us to track visitor statistics. New versus returning visitors tells us who and how many are new visitors versus returning visitors, and how maybe the behaviors of the two groups differ. Google Analytics frequency and recency reporting shows how website visitors return to the website. It shows how many repeat visits there were within a defined time range, the number of sessions and page views there have been for visitors of different frequency. The engagement report allows us to see how long visitors stay on the website and how that affects their behavior. Technology is which browsers and operating systems and things like that the user is using in order to browse your website. And finally, the mobility or mobile overview report. You can see how many of your visitors are using a desktop computer, a smartphone, or tablet to access your website. Google Analytics provides us with a variety of reports that allow us to understand where our visitors are coming from. We can see whether our traffic is direct or whether it's arriving thanks to search engines, which is also known as organic traffic, social media, or referrals from other websites. Let's define direct traffic. What that means is that Google could not track where it came from. This can be for a variety of reasons, some of which are that the URL was typed directly into the web browser address field. It was a click on a hyperlink from a PDF or some other document. It was a click on a hyperlink within an email. Or it was a click on a website browser bookmark which links to your website. Referrals reporting is very important and interesting within Google Analytics. Referrals means the traffic that is being directed to you from other websites. You can use this report to see which websites are providing you with the most traffic. Up until now, we've been discussing how Google Analytics provides reports and statistics and visualizations, but it's from a homogeneous group, meaning all visitors. It's not split in any particular way. As we've discussed previously in the course, user segmentation is a powerful tool to understand what it is that your specific customers are interested in. Google Analytics allows you to create custom segments in order to create this report. It also provides you with ready-made segmentation definitions, should you choose to use those. This segmentation can be done by demographics, technology, behavior, or traffic sources. Thank you. That's the end of this lecture.